Hello, hello, hello. Thank you everyone for joining me tonight. I know it's been a minute since I've been on, but I'm here now. Um, so I'm about to love on you guys and give y'all some information. I thank you for being here. I hope you all been having a wonderful month, keeping your mind right and staying positive amongst this Trump regime, because I know it can be you know, sometimes difficult to understand what's going on and what's happening, as well as disturbing, as well as, frustrating. So I get it, because there are days where I have my moments of dealing with the new regime. So tonight I'm going to talk about just going to give out some information on what's happening, and especially with the CDC and the what RFK Jr. is doing. And then, just a little bit of stuff that I was doing some research on, and I just want to share with you guys tonight. Hi, Gwen, and hello, Cherie. Hello, 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 hello. I'm glad that you all are here tonight. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe to the channel if you want to make a comment, because it's on subscribers only. So if you want to make a comment, please subscribe and then make your comments or whatever. And I appreciate all the new subscribers that I have received. I mean, I'm overwhelmed and delighted and appreciative of everyone. You might not join me here, but you are in my over in my comment on my comment section in my post, and I appreciate you for doing that as well. So, like I said, so let's go ahead and go get started. What's happening with the Trump regime? Okay. So here is the president. I call him the felon of the United States of America. And of course, when we talk about Project 2025, a lot of people didn't believe that it was true, or they didn't believe that, it existed or he had anything to do with it. Well, lo and behold, he is pushing for pretty much everything so far from Project 2025, right? And it is in full effect. Okay. So you know how I like my PowerPoints here. So as of March 30th, 2025, the Trump administration's department, hold on, let me go put this chat up. Okay. Hey, Mel NYC. As of March 30th, 2025, the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, which is DOGE or DOGE or DOGE, some of you call it that, led by Elon Musk, has implemented substantial federal workforce reductions. Tens of thousands of federal employees have been laid off or fired since the start of the Trump's second term. And we have been seeing this across the board, right? And we've seen people march, and he's getting rid of a lot of people in the veterans, and a lot of people all over the federal government are being laid off. Now, some of these people have gotten their jobs back. From my understanding, there's going to be, I believe, with 10,000 people or 50,000, something like that, are going to get their jobs back because the courts and the judges said so, because what they did was illegal. Okay, so these actions align closely with the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 blueprint, which advocates for downsizing federal agencies and restructuring government operations. Okay, the correlation between DOGE's initiatives and Project 2025's recommendation underscores a concerted effort to reshape the federal workforce and streamline government functions. All right. RFK Jr. I want to get started with this and how he's cutting vaccine promotions and HIV preventions. And this is very important, because down in Georgia, the HIV and AIDS rate is extremely high. And it is close to a third world country. All right. It's very high. So, and I know people that are living with HIV, and they do very well for themselves, and they're living, a regular life. I had a friend that once told me that HIV is like having cancer. And they said they'd rather be HIV positive than have cancer, because they know if they have cancer, that, their possibility of living is lesser than living with HIV, because now there are so many medicines and stuff like that. So I recently spoke with a good friend of mine that does have HIV, and they told me that, since Trump administration and RFK have, you said they were going to get rid of these programs and things like that, that they were afraid because they go through some of these programs to get their medicine. And it broke my heart, because I can imagine how many people are out there thinking the same exact thing. Okay. So the HIV and the LGBTQ health information, let me say this to you before I begin with this as well, is that the LGBTQ community and aren't the only ones that suffer from or have HIV. I'm not going to say suffer, but have HIV. There are people that you wouldn't think have it, but there's a lot of heterosexual people that have it as well. They probably got it through a blood transfusion or trusted someone that they love and they got it. And I know it's big in the Black community, and I know that is especially amongst Black women too, who have gotten HIV. Okay. So anyway, let me go on. The main HIV page at the hub for the HIV data, resources for healthcare providers, pages on racial disparities, transgender people, gay and bisexual men, and the federal ending the HIV epidemic plan were taken down. And this is from the government website. Pages on HIV surveillance, test information, and national surveillance reports and data sets were also removed, and treatment guidelines for sexual transmitted infections were removed. Now, this is all was removed from the government website. Youth health and other data pages containing data from the CDC's youth risk behavior surveillance systems were removed. The social vulnerability index, which was key to identifying high-risk areas during COVID, was taken down. Information on workplace diversity at the CDC's National Center for HIV, viral hepatitis, STD, and tuberculosis prevention was removed. A food safety page called Safer Food Choices for Pregnant People were removed. Other removed content: the CDC's guideline for HIV PrEP, a medication that reduces the risk of contracting AIDS, were removed. The CDC's Atlas Plus an interactive database containing surveillance data for HIV and other sexual transmitted diseases was removed. Pages related to gender identity and LGBTQ issues were removed. Okay. The reason for the removals were part of a broader effort by the Trump administration to remove language related to gender identity and LGBTQ issues from government communications, as well as to end what is characterized as radical and wasteful DEI spending. The CDC website carried a caveat: CDC's website is being modified to comply with President Trump's executive orders. Nothing has come up yet, as far as I know. Okay, what steps to take if someone is affected by the cuts? And this is small. Now that Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s administration will significantly cut funding or resources for the HHS and CDC programs related to the HIV, individuals living with HIV still have options for care and support. And here's what can be done. You can seek alternative healthcare resources. Ryan White HIV/AIDS program. This federal program provides HIV treatment and medications for low-income individuals. Let's see, check if it's still funded in your area and find a provider. Okay. States and local health departments, many states run their own HIV treatment programs, even if federal funding is reduced. Community health clinics and nonprofits, groups like AIDS Healthcare Foundation, AHF, and local LGBTQ health centers provide free or low-cost care. Telemedicine services. Some providers offer remote HIV care and prescriptions, ensure continued access to medication, patient assistance programs, PAPs, during manufacturers like Gilded, what is that? VIV Healthcare, and Merck offer free or discounted HIV meds if you qualify. ADAP, AIDS Drug Assistance Program. Each state has an ADAP program to help cover medication costs. Find your state's program. Okay. Generic medications and discount pharmacies, Good RX, Blink Health, and Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs may offer low-cost HIV meds. Stay connected with advocacy groups and legal aid. HIV advocacy groups, organizations like ACT UP, Treatment Action Group, TAG, and Lambda, Legal Fight for Patients' Rights and Policy Changes. Legal aid, discrimination. If you lose insurance or face discrimination, legal services can help protect your rights. Prioritize prevention and health maintenance. Regular testing and doctor visits. Even if federal programs are cut, local clinics still provide testing and care. Okay. Support networks, joining online or local support groups can provide mental and emotional support. Contact elected officials and advocate for change. Call or email your state representative to demand continued funding for HIV treatment programs, and join protests or sign petitions to reinstate lost funding. Okay. I'll leave that there for a minute. But I think it's important because RFK recently said that they were going to gut it. And they were going to let go a lot of, I believe, 3,200 people. And so right now, as of now. So this information, I think, is important for people, so you don't really have anything, don't stress out about it. But there are networks that you can, there are networks that you can find and use, research and use. And this is just some of them. All right. This is also advocacy and public pressure, public and political pushback. This is more information that you can do to get your government, your governor or your state, to make sure that you have the right help. Let's see, advocacy groups, scientists, and affected communities could pressure Congress to restore funding. State and local government action. State health departments may need to step up efforts if federal support declines. Legal challenges. If funding cuts violate existing public health laws, lawsuits could be filed. Private and nonprofit sector involvement. Increased funding from philanthropy. Organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation or Elton John AIDS Foundation might step in to fill gaps. Private sector research and support. Pharmaceutical companies and universities could lead independent research and prevention efforts. Congressional intervention. If Congress disagrees with these changes, it could pass legislation to restore funding. The bipartisan coalition may emerge to defend public health infrastructure. And grassroots and community response, local clinics and NGOs, more responsibility may shift to community-based organizations for prevention, testing, and treatment. Citizen mobilization, protests, petitions, and campaigns could raise awareness and demand action. And international and alternative partnerships. The U.S. could collaborate with international health agencies like the World Health Organization or UNAIDS to continue key programs. I don't know if that's still around, but I think it is somewhere. Okay. So as we know, Donald Trump and the Trump administration is talking about getting rid of certain things that have to do with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And they want to shut that down and add back your fees and your banking and all kinds of things. So this was interesting. So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is a U.S. government agency established in 2011 as part of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. It was created in response to the 2008 financial crisis to protect consumers from unfair, deceptive, or abusive financial practices in areas such as mortgages, credit cards, student loans, and banking services. The key roles of the CFPB: enforcing financial laws, holds banks, lenders, and financial institutions accountable accountable. Consumers complaint systems helps consumers report issues with financial products, regulating payday loans and debt collection. It aims to prevent predatory lending. Financial education provides resources for consumers to make informed decisions. And the political controversy, the CFPB has been a target of the deregulation efforts, especially by the Republican administrations. Critics argue it has too much unchecked power, while supporters say it's essential for protecting consumers from financial abuse. Under Donald Trump, the CFPB's budget and authority were reduced, while under Joe Biden, it was strengthened again. That's very important for you all to know that. So in February 2025, the Trump administration initiated efforts to dismantle the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, an agency established to protect consumers from financial fraud. This move involved mass firings and halting the agency's operations. However, on March 28, 2 days ago, U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson issued a preliminary injunction preventing the administration from proceeding with these actions, thereby ensuring the continuation of the CFPB's vital consumer protections work. Critics argue that the administration attempts to weaken the CFPB could leave millions of Americans vulnerable to financial scams and misconduct. Okay, so that's just something that just happened recently. But I think it was important to know this is what's happening in the Trump administration. That's why the thumbnail says, let them eat cake, because they don't care about you, period. Getting rid of the CDC, gutting the CDC and all those things, not letting you know about infectious diseases that are out here, that are running rampant right now, such as the measles, and who else knows, because they're not releasing any information. They don't want Donald Trump to look bad. Okay. So I have a little video for you guys. Social Security and supplement income.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so, well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. If you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue.
So again, I've been given political advice for very many years, and I'm not sure I was ever any good at this, but I would never advise anyone to say, quote, Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. It's life and death. It's medicine and food and heat for a lot of people. And it embodies, it encapsulates this callous indifference. I was talking about it.
Okay. So that is Elon Musk on it. It is a Ponzi scheme in his mind. So Elon Musk, in his role as head of the Department of Government Efficiency under the Trump administration, has sparked controversy over his approach to the Social Security supplemental security income. Musk has repeatedly criticized Social Security as unstable, calling it the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time, and has pushed for staff cuts, office closures, and a shift to digital-only services within the Social Security Administration. His policies have led to increased wait times, website crashes, and restricted phone-based services, making it harder for low-income and disabled individuals to access their SSI benefits. While Musk claims these changes will reduce fraud and increase payments for legitimate recipients, critics argue that they disproportionately harm vulnerable population who rely on SSI for survival. His reforms have faced backlash, with protests erupting worldwide, legal challenges emerging over concerns that DOGE's, or doggy, or whatever you want to call it, actions are violating federal laws protecting Social Security access. If Elon Musk eliminated supplemental security income, millions of low-income, elderly, and disabled Americans would face severe financial hardship. SSI is a lifeline for about 7.5 million people, including those with disabilities, the blind, and seniors with little to no income. Here's what would likely happen. Increase poverty and homeless. Many disabled and elderly recipients rely on SSI for basic needs like food, rent, and medication. Without it, homelessness and food insecurity would skyrocket. Some might turn to family for support, but may have no safety net. More burden on state and local governments. States would face pressure to create their own welfare programs, increasing state taxes or forcing cuts to other services. Emergency rooms and homelessness shelters would see surges in demand, straining public resources, spike in disability and elderly death rates. Many SSI recipients, rely on medical care, prescription drugs, and in-home assistance. Losing income would lead to untreated health conditions, increased hospitalization, and higher mortality rates. Economic consequences. SSI benefits fuel local economies because recipients spend on essentials. Removing it could hurt businesses in low-income areas. Family members might have to quit jobs to care for disabled relatives, reducing the workforce. Political and legal fallout. Congress and courts would likely challenge Musk actions, as SSI is federally mandated under the Social Security Act of 1972. Mass protests and activist lawsuits would erupt, like they're doing right now, as cutting SSI would disproportionately affect vulnerable Americans. So recently, Elon Musk has announced plans to step down as head of the Department of Government Efficiency by the end of May of 2025. As a special government employee, his tenure is capped at 130 days, during which he has focused on reducing the U.S. federal deficit by $1 trillion through various cost-cutting measures. Musk expressed confidence that the majority of his work will be completed within his designated term. His announcement comes amid nationwide protests against his leadership at DOGE and his impact on government agencies and services.
As the FAA was infiltrated by DOGE and by Elon Musk, it's my understanding that he replaced the communications contract for the FAA with his own Starlink program. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And it's also my understanding that Mr. Elon Musk, who has also infiltrated NOAA, which is the agency that does our weather service and tells the Americans and the world that, you know, what's going to happen with the weather, that there's also indications inside the agency that he would like to have SpaceX become the primary contractor for the satellite systems for NOAA. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And we've also heard that Mr. Elon Musk, who the DOD secretary almost gave access to secret war plans for China last week, is also angling to get billions of dollars in new contracts under the Department of Defense. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I don't know about all of you guys, but this sure looks like a scam to me. I mean, right, they're calling it waste, fraud, and abuse, but really what we see is a special government employee who's a private businessman. He's the wealthiest man in the world, and he is literally infiltrating these federal agencies that he has a personal financial interest in. He's cutting the programs, he's eliminating staff, and then he is essentially positioning himself to put into place private. This is a total scam. A total scam. Like, folks need to wake up. This is not about waste, fraud, and abuse. This is a scam. They are running a scam on the American people and on the federal government.
All right. And there's that. So I dropped the link if anybody want to come up and give your grievances and what you think you should do, whatever, or just give your opinion on what's happening. Look, it's a scam. Okay. And some people don't want to understand that. They don't want to grasp that for whatever reason. Trust me, I get messages all the time about Trump. I mean, you know, and how he's doing what they voted for. I get it. You voted for this madness and this insane because you didn't think it was going to happen to you. And so I think a lot of people, but you also have a lot of people that's regretting this whole thing with the because they're losing their jobs, right? So if you go on TikTok, you're seeing a lot of people basically say, I regret my vote. I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't believe it was going to happen. Well, he said this is what he was going to do. During his campaign and his rallies, he said they were going to come in and get rid of some government things. But Elon Musk is scamming the system because Elon Musk is going to benefit from whatever happens, right? So they're going to gut Social Security. They're going to gut whatever they can gut, Veterans Administration stuff. They're gutting all these federal, agencies, and they're going to give the money to the 1%. They're going to give them tax breaks. This is why they have to do this. This is their plan. It's always been their plan. It is part of Project 2025. I mean, in the beginning of the pages of Project 2025, they basically say one of the first things we're going to do in the first 100 days is go into the federal government and fire people. Right? We read that. So they said they're going to do it, and they're doing it. And some people voted for the madness. Hello, Mel. Hello, long time.
Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? As Wendy would say, how you doing?
Oh, like Wendy Williams. So, yeah, I'm glad you're doing better. I'm doing good. I don't want to hold you too long, but I was going to say that, I think that I don't know if he really will step down in May. Hopefully he do, because, maybe he got some kind of sense that, people don't like him. They don't like him. They don't like what he's doing. And maybe he, his car's been, I don't want to say his car's been, being on fire and everything. A lot of stuff has been happening. So maybe he decided it's too hot in the kitchen right now,
Maybe, from some of the videos that I saw of him crying on Fox News, because I'm a big time Brian Tyler Cohen, I think that's his name. Big time. I watch his channel and the Midas Touch channel. So I'm a big fan of Brian Cohen and the Midas Touch. And Brian had a video of him crying, basically he was angry. Elon Musk was angry at Governor Walz, because Governor Walz basically said, okay, they're marching and they're protesting good, and he was like, how dare he do that? I mean, he's not, I think it's nasty and rude of him to think it's funny that people are protesting me and vandalizing the little ugly cars. And it's just like, but you don't care about the people.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go in and you with your chainsaw and stuff, gutting the government waste. And in reality, this is why I showed the video. I can't think of her name right now, so forgive me. But of the woman that sits in the congressional seats, and she basically was saying this is a scam. So you're gutting everything. You're getting rid of certain companies, or like I think it was Verizon or something that they tried to get rid of so he can put in SpaceX, or and so he can have that what do you call it? That contract. And he's doing all of this because he wants those contracts in the government. Elon makes $8 billion a day. A day from the government. Let that sink in. 8 billion, not million, with a B, a day.
And we see where that money's coming from. It's coming from all these things that he's turning off.
But he's getting it from our government.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But we see where it's coming from the people that he's
right. So he's making all this money. And I think it comes out to like $260 million, $1 billion a year, or $260 million, something like that. Ain't no math, Jesus, but I know how to count money. But anyway, but he makes all this money. Why does one person need to have all this money? He just sold Twitter to himself, I believe yesterday. I don't know how that worked. I just saw someone talking about it. I was like, well, that's interesting. I'm not very. Oh, it's 8. Yeah, he makes 8 million per day. Right. Oh, 8 million per day. Okay, thank you.
I was like, wait a minute.
My bad. 8 million a day. Thank you, honey.
I said, what?
So,
I was just, you shocked
and look,
me.
I'm just saying it with all this conviction. So he makes $8 million a day.
That's still a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes close to 100 contracts. Okay. Mm-hmm. Government contracts. So it's $8 million per day. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money that this man makes. So what is it, like $260 billion a year or something like that?
Oh, I know.
Definitely want to get it. But so he makes all this money, mm-hmm. and he is angry with people protesting mm-hmm. his cars. He said there's a lot of cheese. People are protesting his cars. People don't like him. He shouldn't have been in there in the first place because it is, it makes no sense for him to be there. It's a conflict of interest. It was a conflict of interest they say it's illegal for Donald Trump to be selling and pushing his cars on, where was it? The Capitol or the White House, trying to sell the car, get people to purchase the car. And people went out and purchased the cars. His stock is going down. Let's see what else is going on. Who's the Gerber? The Gerber guy was on a YouTube podcast that I saw this morning. He said he sold 500,000 shares of the Tesla stock because people are selling their stock now. These people that gave him a lot of money, mm-hmm. they have stock with Elon, the Tesla, and they've sold a lot of their stock because they said, well, this particular person said that Elon needs to step down because he's affecting the stock and the company. So, and that's why, a lot of the people that have made millions, hundreds of millions of dollars off of the stock that they hold, they're selling out because Elon Musk is a problem. Ever since he bought Twitter, he's on Twitter running his mouth. And, Ross Gerber, right? So Ross Gerber, one of the biggest investors in Tesla, sold 500,000. Now I'm gonna get this right: 500,000 shares of Tesla, and that's a lot. So a lot of people. So this is why Elon went in crying to his employees and begged them not to sell their stock. And I think this is one of the reasons I think he's going to step down. Also, did he find $1 trillion in the government waste? No, he did not. Last I heard was $8 million in government waste. Mm-hmm. Right. Just saying.
It was a scheme that Trump came up to you come to us with the bullshit, is what they said on Later Housewives, but the Todd scheme. No, I think that for me, I think that people should protest. And you were talking about all these programs. I mean, basically, every. I don't think you even talked about on that list, women. There's some cuts for, of course. I mean, it's just very clear cuts for women's. Not only for pregnancy, what did they say? There was cuts for prevention, for mammograms. I mean, just so many crazy things that you think, wait a minute, why would you try to stop people preventing themselves from checking up they breasts and things? That's just unbelievable. Because if a person, God help you, and I know from my own family, if somebody gets, the big C word, it's tragic only. That's number one, but it's very expensive for the person and for the country. So it's, prevention is the thing. So these people, these MAGA, or what some people call maggots, these maggot people, They don't believe in prevention. They believe, and the biggest issue I have with all this cuts and stuff, because I'm like you, I'm in the middle. I'm not with him. I don't like them at all, but I'm in the middle when it comes to not really being as reactionary. So you see a problem, MAGA people, you see a problem, but you never come up with a solution. Never. You never have any solutions. You cut this, that, and like, okay, you said there's a problem with, as you just read of all these things. So what is the solution? You're just going to cut, and then we just be left in 4 years with people, and I'm not even laughing, people who are sicker or people who are more, poorer, and what are the solutions to this? And this is the thing. So even with the people out, because I sometimes, me, I go on Twitter and I be playing with the people on Twitter. I be, trolling them and getting into tussles over there, having a good time, because they are so happy about cuts. Drain the swamp, drain. And I don't know how people in our community, like we talk about the people with beautiful names who can't even get a loan under Trump because they changed the rules about that and all, for businesses. There's no solutions. I see no solutions. Like I didn't vote for the man, but I'm sitting back. Okay, you're whining, you're crying about problems, but I don't hear not one solution coming from that side. Even when it comes to the crypto stuff, they go, "Oh, crypto is going to be the best thing in the world." But yet, people have lost so many millions of dollars since the election. The only people who won since the election has been Trump and his support. I mean, Trump and Elon and those people. They call it insider trading, as alleged, all alleged. So if you know what the price is going to be and how to sell it, whatever, you making billions and millions. But his followers in the Rust Belt have not made one dime in the crypto market. Not one dime. They have just lost money all the time. So money is the problem, and crypto is the answer, but you have no solution to how your followers, not me, your followers can make money from crypto. Only people that make crypto is Melania Trump. Because they were mad with her after the election. She came out with that little stink coin, and then she made billions of dollars. And they were mad with her. They were dragging her in the Trump spaces and the Trump Discord. They were dragging her like crazy. They had no solutions. So that's what I see with these people. And it was an election I told you about. I forget, it was in Pennsylvania, I believe, where a Trump county had enough. They basically did not vote for the Trump supported candidate, and they vote for somebody else recently in the recent election in Pennsylvania. So, the tides are turning. People are like, okay, maybe I'm conservative, not me, but the people, maybe I'm conservative, but you coming up with no solutions. At least Kamala Harris had some ideas. She had a lot of ideas, a lot of wonderful ideas for this country. And, they just don't have no, because Joe Rogan was that way too. That was the reason, I believe he doesn't live in California right now. He said, this was years ago. California just so nasty, and so many homeless people, and boom, 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 boom. I'm leaving, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, what's the solution to this? What are any solutions? Y'all have no solutions to anything. And so after a couple of months, you ruin the country because y'all don't love the country. You can't tell me you love the country. They don't love the country. You ruin the country, and in 2028, you take your little coins, you take your money, and then you go away, and then the country is terrible. As bad as it was in 2020 when you gave it to Biden.
Right. And it's going to be bad again because they say that we're headed to another recession.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say, to be honest with you. I have a lot to say when I'm not on this, when I'm not live.
Mm-hmm.
So I say a lot of things when I'm talking to my husband about what's going on, because it's just mind-boggling, to be honest with you, that we are here again in a situation with the same man that that you left because he tried to, because you got a cousin 19,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you once again let this man back into your home, and then he told you what he was going to do. It's like an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
When you said this before, we had that whole video where you talked about we are back in this abusive relationship, this marriage with this man that you just cannot seem to escape, because he has gaslit you up to think that he loves you so much. And then you get out here, you let him back into your home, and he tells you This I'm gonna do this. I love you, but this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not even funny, but you have to laugh because it's unreal.
It is. I mean, at one point, even Tina Turner turned down Ike at one point. You know, she closed the door on him and said no more, and she went on to have a good life. And America can't seem to do that. America itself seems to love this abusive, toxic relationship.
Yeah.
It makes no sense that we would, or not me, that people would get this man back into the White House. I don't know, but I mean, I'm liking what I see outside. Besides them, I like the protesting. I like the different elections that's happening. I don't think they're going to do what you say. I think you said we both feel it's going to be a blue wave, and next year, 2026. If they, of course, we keep protecting the vote. We don't want the vote to get messed up with the machines and all of I say witchcraft, all the stuff that they do, to mess up everything. We don't want that to happen because if we protect the vote, we will turn over everything in 2026 because it's just too much. Everything is higher, more expensive, confusion. And no solutions. They had no solutions to anything.
So, okay. So you think you think that it will happen?
I think that in 2026, we will probably take back the Congress and the Senate and all that. I do.
Okay.
But I believe
we're going to take that. I think that, I hope that's what happens. And I think that in Florida, they have an election that's happening April 1st, if I'm not mistaken. Florida has, I think, a couple of seats that are up. What else is going on? I know that's important. And then April 5th, they have this huge 1 million person march. So if you're going out there if you want to go and participate in this 1 million march, do what you have to do. But they're telling Black people not to do it. W1 says Christian nationalism all the way again. Christian nationalists often promote the idea that charity should come from the church and not the state. Because we know that Christian nationalism is the Heritage Foundation. And what's happening is like a lot of people aren't talking about the Heritage Foundation. I feel like my seat is low. The Heritage Foundation is the people behind Project 2025. They are the people who have put Donald Trump and have given him everything to implement. So when he came in, what has it been? Not even 90 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since he's been in office, I think like 65 days or something like that. And it's the Heritage Foundation. So Donald Trump owes a lot of people. He owes Elon Musk $250 million. That's why he's letting him come in and gut the government so he can find his money. His payback, I should say. As well as Donald Trump selling his coins. He came up with another coin yesterday, from my understanding. I didn't look into that because I didn't want to see that hot mess. It's a lot. The Heritage Foundation and Christian nationalism is what's going on. We know that I did a video about this, 2 years ago? Christian nationalists. I did a video about that. I don't think I probably had, I don't know how many, I probably didn't get that many views, but if you haven't seen Bad Faith on Prime, I suggest you do so. Then you understand what's happening. W1 and I watched that documentary, and he was just like, oh, Kamala was never going to win because the Heritage Foundation has been working at this moment since 1978. I mean, so, I have a lot of people that are looking at a video where one of my videos that I put up, and I get a lot of messages, comments about, some of the Project 20 companies supporting Project 2025. Let me say this while I'm here and while I'm live. The whole point of that video is for people And the lady is, hear me out on this. She is on TikTok. The whole purpose of that video was to give you a starting point as to what you can do, because we know that money drives this country. This is a capitalist country. You watched it, Gwen? Yeah, watch it. Bad Faith. So it is about, a starting point of you putting your money where it benefits you and what your beliefs are. You got to be really cognizant of where you spend your money. And a lot of the stuff on the list, you're not going to be able to say, you know what? I can't help it. I got to go to Walmart because that's the only store in my, and that's understandable. I can't, I have to go to AutoZones. I got to get parts because that's the only store in my community. That's understandable. But just be wise when you go out and when you make choices. That's all. That's all it's about. So people got to do their research, and some of those companies, and the list needs to be updated. I will come out with another list that's updated. It does need to be updated because LL Bean didn't donate this year. And I say that as well because when Donald Trump's first term, the Heritage Foundation, that was the beginning of them giving him money, was in 2016. The Heritage Foundation was behind Donald Trump in his first term in office, the same way they were behind Reagan when he was in office. Okay. And any Republican that is supporting this administration, they are supporting Project 2025. Okay. Project 2025 is a 924-page document. It is real. And Donald Trump is implementing all of those things. I mean, I can't explain it. I mean, is that a good explanation?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you have to, it's just you have to understand when you stop spending money in certain places, like what happened to Target. They boycotted Target about the DEI stuff. Target was like, okay, we're going to call it something else, but we're not getting rid of DEI. We're just going to call it something different. But now it's like, it's too late. We don't care. We don't care about you calling it something else now because you said you were going to go ahead and get rid of certain certain things. I know I used to go to Target during during February, Black History, because you had cute stuff that they had, like sweatshirts, t-shirts, anything like from a Black artist or something like that. I just went to support, and I would buy certain stuff just to support, right? Black-owned businesses, because I know it's hard for some Black-owned businesses to get funded or started. Get your feet off the wet. So I support those type of things. And I like Target. I think Target is nice. I like Target. But I don't shop at Target anymore. I'm just saying, I just don't. But I have to go to Aldi's, and Aldi's doesn't support either. But I shop at Aldi's and I go to a Publix because that's where I get my seafood. That's the only thing that's around. Or we have to drive out to go to the farmer's market. You know what I'm saying? If I want something real quick, I eat plant-based foods. So I get my plant-based food from Kroger's or Publix. And Kroger's too. It's the same thing. I mean, that's what I eat. So, but I make sure when I do shop at these places that I don't spend a lot of money in these places, right?
You know what I think? I agree. You know what?
Is I don't know.
Yeah. No, there was this man. Well, of course, Iyanla Vanzant, one of my favorites. But then when I was growing up, it was this guy. He's gone now. His name is Wayne Dyer, and he talked about the power of intention. It was a really good book, and I know Oprah loves that book too. And basically, it tells you that if you live your life with intention, then basically you'll be more successful and things like that. But I think that when it comes to different communities that are under attack, especially people who live in food deserts. I'm thinking about our brothers and sisters out in, Louisiana or in Iowa, Indiana, wherever it is. And they only have one store for 25 miles. And that store happens to have Trump flags everywhere. And, and I would say to those people, listen, all of us, we live in a very hostile country for if you're a Black person, that's just what it is. And I think that I don't think nobody should beat themselves up for shopping where they have to for their families. But I think that, over time, you can be intentional about, okay, well, this is what I have to do right now, but, maybe, make it a hobby. Can I talk to my local church and my local people about the summertime is coming up? Can we start up? Because I know in New York City, they talking about local gardens and different co-op places. And, what does it take to actually start up a supermarket? I think in Detroit, they had one of the first Black, I got my research mixed up, but some places opened up a Black supermarket that was beautiful and one of these food deserts. And I thought that was pretty cool because they were so frustrated with the treatment they got and just how the food quality was. So they decided to open up their own supermarket. So, I just think that, do the best you can. Shop where you can, like you said, don't be going out there and, have no explosions and no arguments with no stupid people. But in your heart, go, what, one day I'll be able to maybe grow my own food or connect with other people. That way you can literally, in a slow way, get off of being exposed to hostile and, negative people, basically. So that's what I think. Just, very slowly try to transition off of that. But in the meantime, if you do live in, a food desert, do the best you can. Shop for those discounts. Go to Walmart. I mean, I'm saying it. Go to Walmart. Go to Target. Go everywhere that you get those discounts because they have the cheapest prices. Don't have you just got to do what you got to do to survive. We all have to at this point.
Right.
We really do. It's with the prices going up. Maybe I might find myself in a store that I don't really agree with because I'm getting some discounted deal or something for myself and my family, whatever. So, I think that we have that right. We've gone through enough in this country.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. You have to, that's why I say just shop wisely. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's like, you just shop wisely. You don't have to go to, what's that place, Free People and purchase that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You can go somewhere else and get the same sweater somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can get a sweater like it that did not donate to Project 2025. So when I say they donated to Project 2025, we're saying, these certain companies are okay because they voted for Donald Trump or they voted for a Republican, because Republicans right now are okay with Project 2025. Does that make sense? Because they're okay with pushing Trump's agenda. They're okay with having this president in office. He didn't create Project 2025. The Heritage Foundation created Project 2025. They are the people behind Project 2025. And as a matter of fact, J.D. Vance wrote a part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say don't shop it, we're saying, and if you don't see, well, Donald Trump didn't create Project. No, he didn't. But he's implementing it.
It's his Bible.
It's right. And any Republican that is okay with Donald Trump being in his position, they're okay with Project 2025. Because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect white men, right? And it really doesn't affect white women at the age of 40 and older. To be honest with you. It's affecting young white women, Black and brown people, period.
And immigrants too. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, Black and brown people.
Yeah.
So it's affecting us more so than anything. So if you go in and you see the whole getting rid of this DEI stuff, white women benefit the most out of DEI. We talked about this, right? Some people just believe that Donald Trump has nothing to do with it. I'm like, he's implementing. I mean, are you woke yet? And all this whole want to get rid of the woke culture. I mean, you can stay asleep.
Right.
That's up to you. You can stay asleep and you'll have nothing left. And that is a fact. You don't have anything.
Certain groups in history are really good at propaganda. And that was another thing I was thinking about in that little thing I wrote up. I was just thinking about propaganda. It's been, that's been a tool of the certain groups of people love propaganda. They use it against people. We had it just recently with the dogs and the cats, and then this, that. So they use this sort of nasty thing to scare people, so people can vote the way they, or do the things they want them to do. I think that our ancestors, especially even recently before the civil rights movement, I think that I was thinking about this. I was thinking, why would anybody? Well, I know why people did do escape from being enslaved, but I was reading a book, and the future for people who became free was not very bright. It was hard work. They was always running. They had crosses. It was just a lot of problems. They became a target, and I think they did it because to not really work for freedom meant that they just maybe they wanted to unalive themselves, basically, because it was just too horrific. The life was too horrific. And I think that what we're going through now is not as bad as that, thank God. But I think that, every day, I know what I do. I basically, I do a little writing on my computer. I talk to different people. I do just little things that allow me to know I'm moving against what's happening in the world right now. I simply can't sit down in my house, go, get up in the morning, do what I got to do, come home, and then do that routine every day and just go, okay, this is what it is for 4 years. And I used to do that now. I mean, a lot of people I know, they go every 4 years, I'll go, and hopefully, dear God, it'll work out. If it don't, then I'll just wait for another 4 years. No, we can't do that no more. Cannot wait 4 years to be, to be connected to something. So for me, I'm learning about different think tanks that are not anti-Trump, but that have different views than Trump. And there are a lot of those kind of think tanks all over the country. And if you're disabled and you want to go out to the street, you can do some calls. You don't have to be in people's face. You can do everything that you can do safely. You can start up different channels like Miss Sunny Guy. You can do a podcast. Just get your voice out there, because the more that other people out there speak against what's going on, it's better. And I actually think it's mentally is good to really just be doing something, along with, having a good day, like, going outside, enjoy the weather. And because right now we have a fight on our hands. We have a fight, and we can't just sit back and be scared. We got to, research stuff and join conversations, join community boards. Again, all within your own schedule, and I think that's what's been saving me, because I'm active slowly. And that's been very helpful to me to not just sit around and, because at this point, what I think? I think that whatever Elon and Trump is going to do, they will do. Right. I think that what I've decided is that what's going to happen is we are going to have to, as a lot of us, we're going to have to fix a lot of problems, basically. That's because I think that, the idea. So this idea that people on the news go, we got to stop them. I don't think that you can really at this point. I think that the vote was supposed to stop them, and y'all didn't do it correctly. So now what's going to happen is we have to endure all the issues that these people create. I think we will survive, but in 2026 and 2028 is the time where we're going to have to redo. So the people who love him, they're going to be mad again, which I'm okay with. I'm like, oh my gosh, you putting this program back? You turn over, you giving back the right for women to do what they want, what they buy. Like everything that they taken away, we're going to put back into effect. I really believe that. They're going to be very angry again. They was angry when Obama was in office, and he was like, oh, free healthcare and this and this and healthcare for the LGBT community and trans, this, and they're like, oh my, they was just upset. Well, you're going to be upset again. Well, everything they've taken away, we're going to put right back. We're going to put it right back into effect.
Well, yeah. He recently, Trump has said that he's going to run a third term.
Well, that's no shocker.
Right. Because he said that when he was running. Right. So, because he claimed that he didn't lose the 2016 or 2020 election, right? So, but you did. You lost. I don't know how you won this time, but you won, but not by much, by 1%. And he did not win by a landslide. He won by 1%. And that is the reason being that 3% of people did not vote. Okay. or what was it, 3%? Because I think we talked about this too, Mel. That I think it was 3% of people, or was it 1%? 3% or 1% of people voted for Jill Stein and another candidate, and 3% of people didn't vote. Stayed home.
A lot of people,
Like
yeah.
6 people didn't vote. So he only lost by 1%, which is not a lot. And then he still didn't win the majority of American people.
No.
So, which, look, I'm okay with knowing that. So I know he has a base of 75 million people. And those people went back to him because they did not want this woman of color being in office, because they made her out to be this big time devil. And some black folks didn't vote for her, because I've seen a lot of those too. Because they think that, you know, capitalism is going to, if they vote Republican, some of these people, and I'm talking about black folks that voted for Donald Trump, will argue you down and say he's not racist. And, I'm okay with some of the stuff that he said, because I'm not bothered by that, because they think that they're going to be able to go in and get a loan from a bank. I said it prior to Trump running last year. Voting is super important in this moment in time. If you got to get out and vote, because your vote does matter and it counts. We just saw what happened. Yes, JYK kind of shows that sexism is more prevalent than racism. Project 2025 is basically the pathway to the Gilead. Is that how you say it? Yes. So, you know, these people did not want this woman, because a lot of men, and I'm talking about black men, don't think a black woman should be president. A woman, period, could be president. This is the same thing that happened to Hillary Clinton. Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. Same dynamic. It was the same exact thing. People, you know, everything was big. Hillary's going to win. And then Donald Trump came in and just, because men do not believe a woman can run this country. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And how profound it is that when Hillary ran, she was up against Donald Trump, same thing. And then you have Kamala, same thing. People's like, oh no, we'll just put Donald Trump. I don't understand what it is about Donald Trump that people believe that this man has your best interest at hand. 20s, when he was in office, we got cousin 19. What did he tell you to do? He didn't tell you to drink bleach. I think he said that
Lysol,
drink disinfectant or something like that. So he didn't say bleach, but he said something about disinfectant because it's supposed to get rid of it, something along those lines, basically. Handmaid's Tale, for those who don't know. Yeah. And that's what it is. That's exactly what Project 2025 is. That's what the national, the Heritage Foundation and White Christian National is. Handmaid's Tale. That's a fact. I'm glad you went and watched Gwen Bad Faith. I think, Mel, you saw it as well, right?
No, I didn't get a chance to. Not yet.
So if you hadn't seen Bad Faith on Prime, I suggest you watch it.
Okay.
I suggest you watch it. You'll get an understanding of at where we are right now in this time, and how the Heritage Foundation has been working for decades to be in this moment. Okay? Right now, today. And it's not a joke because we're living in it right now. That's a fact. Okay? You can't sit back and laugh, oh, whatever. No, it's not whatever. If you go out and you have a woman, I believe in Texas, had a miscarriage. It was 19 weeks. And they literally said at 19 weeks, the lungs are developing. Nothing else is developed, I don't know. But they said it was just like a ball. So she threw it in the trash. She got rid of it. She was bleeding out. Somebody called the ambulance. She was bleeding out, passed out, and she went to the hospital. They asked her what happened. She said she had a miscarriage. She, I guess, told them that she threw it in the dumpster because it was just, it was a ball. It wasn't fully developed at all. She got arrested for murder.
Wow.
She was arrested for murder. They are saying now that life begins at conception. Okay. Not when it breathes life, at conception. Rock and Roll said, FYI, Social Security, the Great Panthers, and International are in all states. The Great Panthers are a multi-generational. And just another example, even on the more progressive side, people rag on AOC Warren and say they're unelectable all the time while touting Bernie and Buttigieg. Shaking my head. Would love AOC and Warren if only.
Now, you remember we talked about that.
AOC, and we did talk about that.
You remember we talked about that right after the election. You remember, and I'll say it here. I said it on a different channel. I said after the election, what I realized was that America does not care about sexism, racism, or any of those isms. They don't care about it. All they care about is money. Okay. And they do not want to be saved, obviously, because we're supposed to be saving them from the pandemic and from all those issues that we've gone through. America don't want to be saved. They want to be entertained.
Right.
So if AOC and Warren is out there trying to save everybody and trying to make everybody woke, or better yet, we don't want to use that word, but trying to make people aware of the pain that people are going through, then that still in this time won't be as powerful as somebody coming up who they feel comfortable with. Now, it's not politically correct to say it, but a man who's very entertaining, who may be a celebrity, who's not a person of color, like this is what the studies are showing. Now, this is disgusting to me that this is what's happening. But if somebody wants to win against Trump, it has to be those ingredients. That the person is not going to come up there and entertain people. That's what I learned. I think it'll be a fatal flaw for people to go, okay, now we're going to go out here and we're going to be, it just is crazy to me because we tried that with Kamala Harris and we tried that with Clinton. And it seems that America is always voting against that.
Yeah. Sorry for that Cash App being up there. I was trying to get that strong.
No, that's good. No, but I was going to say too, and I also think that because, they had something crazy happen with the schools where, they changed everything and told them to take these programs out and all this stuff. And the kids are protesting. And again, I wish for me that people would start, with Trump and them, they make the rules up as they go. Every day there's a new thing that they decided. I mean, we're going to run for the third term. We're going to change this thing. We're going to do this. We're going to sell things from the White House. I mean, they make up things as they go. So for me, I don't understand why any person in power or in government would be allow themselves, if they in a blue state, to be blackmailed by people that you have to pay taxes to. If I was an elected official in a state that was paying hundreds of millions of dollars to the government, I would not be blackmailable. I basically would say, listen, for the next 4 years, I'm not paying taxes to the government. My state is not paying taxes. My state is going to use the money, the millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that we have. We're going to put it back into the programs. And if the elderly and the disabled and all these different communities are going to be totally out there in the cold, we're going to need the money that we generate in our state to protect the people in our community. So why would we give it to the government, to Trump and Elon? Basically, we're just going to be handing them all this money that's not going to come back down to the people who need it. They're going to just tell the Rust Belt some kind of made up stuff about swamps and greed and scandals and all this kind of stuff. So why would I give my money to criminals?
Right.
I wouldn't give it to a blackmailer. So this is the kind of thing that I'm frustrated when it comes to Democrats, that they're not being as creative as I want them to be. That they have to make up the rules as they go at this point. They got to. And also to this idea of the third term. So in my mind, what about Obama? What about Clinton? What about, not that I want them to, not that but what about any other person that we've enjoyed before coming to the national stage saying, okay, I want to do it again too. Like if we're making up rules as we go, there's no more rules. But anybody can do whatever they want. If you're entertaining and America loves you, then you should not be, oh, I can't do it because I already served 2 terms or whatever. No, everybody can do whatever they want to do. We're playing by new rules right now. There are no rules under Trump and Elon. They make it up as they go. So I don't understand why certain people still play by rules. That's where you lose at. And again, I want to say this too. I would vote for AOC and I would vote for Warren myself, and I voted for Kamala Harris. But in America as itself, I definitely feel like if we want to take him out, I wish that. So again, it's complicated to stay online, but me and you talked about we talked right at the election exactly who would win the next election. We already know that.
But who's going to be so who is the person to be the Democratic nominee? Because it's not going to be. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be Governor Newsom, because the way he flip-flopping left and right, nobody's putting this man, especially a Democrat, they're not voting for him. I mean, I thought it would. I think I thought it was going to be him after Kamala, and then now he has his podcast where he's talking to, these big time racist folks. I can't think of the young dude's name, but what's the guy that got Donald Trump elected the first time with all the moles and stuff in his face?
Oh, I don't know.
You know who it is. I can't think his name.
I tried to think about it.
He has a podcast too, but he looks greasy and got all that just nasty looking. Well, his name will pop in my head. But he talked to him. Governor Newsom has this podcast where he wants to talk to the other side. Yeah, he talked to Charlie Kirk, and who's the other guy? JYK. The older guy who went to jail for the swindling people about the wall, Mexico and the wall, and he got money from that, but he served 2 months in jail for I can't think of his name right now. But so Governor Newsom is talking to Charlie Kirk, and he talked to Steve Bannon, and so he's sitting down with Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk because he wants to make it seem as if, okay, I may be this Democrat, but let's have a conversation with the other side. And so he wants to get some kind of way tap into these MAGA Republicans. They're not coming. They're going to sit down and say, okay, Gavin Newsom. Okay, good. I'm glad you came to talk. Okay, fine. But guess what? I'm still riding with Donald Trump. These MAGA Republican people have Stockholm syndrome. You can't get into the minds of these people. And I'm talking about diehard MAGA. Walk around, they get a government check, they can barely buy eggs, okay? Because they're telling you, I'd rather suffer for the next 4 years if I can get everything made in America again. I don't care about a tariff. They will tell you straight up, I don't care about that. I'm okay with Donald Trump implementing these things. I'm okay to suffer. We have to suffer before we can get back to made in America again. And I'm all right with that. I'm serious. I've seen it.
I know, yeah.
Comments. It's just like, who the hell wants to suffer? So you okay with getting a government cheese line? You okay with making $7.25 an hour? Right? And that's a whole carton of eggs. You're working 1 hour to buy a carton of eggs, and you're okay with that. It's but that's Stockholm syndrome, right? Because you've been gaslit, and you're okay because you love Donald Trump because he is your savior. Anything besides having some liberal in office give me free health care and save my Social Security, right? It's just mind-boggling. But Rock and Roll Acid Queen said, I'm against identity politics. Who cares whether they tout Elizabeth or Bernie? I think what JYK was saying is, they're pushing this whole Bernie Buttigieg, right? And because it's 2 men, because they know that because Bernie is saying the same thing that Kamala Harris said, the same exact thing that Kamala Harris was saying. And people were telling us, we're going to vote for her. But when it came down for voting for her or Donald Trump, 56% of white women voted for Donald Trump. When we thought that white women were going to come out and vote for Kamala Harris, they got on those phones. They got on that call was 200 and some thousand white women got on that. What is it called when you get on the phone?
On the Zoom call, the conference call,
right? On the Zoom call, and said they were going to get out there. They were going to vote for Kamala Harris, and then 56% of white women picked Donald Trump. My husband says they went there probably with the intention of voting for Kamala, but when they got to that booth, they changed their minds because they know they have to live with their husbands that voted for Donald Trump. And they know they were going to get asked that question. Did you vote for her? Who did you vote for? You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole mind screw with a lot of people, I think. Another documentary I would like for you all to go watch is Deconstructing Karen. And it's
okay.
I'm serious. And it is about liberal women that you think that are so liberal can sometimes be more racist. Deep documentary. It's about, I think it's like 45 minutes to an hour long, something long, but very insightful. So Bad Faith and Deconstructing Karen. Very interesting. Sometimes people, need to be checked at the door. Right? You got to sometimes sit down and just be real and honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Some people don't think that they're racist just because they may have black friends or whatever the case may be. They don't think so. This election has opened the eyes of many people. Many people. You thought that you may have lost friends in 2016, because I lost a lot of friends in 2016. Indian friends, white friends in 2016, because I was on Facebook going in about, I cannot believe you are voting for this man. This man does not like you. Unreal. But I was like, okay, gone. This election, I told a lot of people, if you're my friend, I don't want to even have a conversation with you about it. People I've known for 20 years, 25 years. We're not going to have a discussion about it because I don't want to hear it. Because I don't want to lose another friend behind Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. So we don't have those discussions about politics. Me too, lost a lot of close friends who didn't care about anyone beyond themselves. Constitution only works with civic virtue. We normalize pure self-interest way too much.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
That was what the last election was about. It was, they promised them gold and crypto and better price on eggs and all type of stuff. And they just, like I said, at the end of the day, it just seemed, it was so crazy, but I'm kind of over it because, like I said, I'm so focused on the things I'm doing. But in that election, I'm just like, wow, these people are attacking women, they're attacking immigrants, they're attacking the gay community, they're attacking black and brown people, and every single group of people I just mentioned that they were attacking voted for him. Now, even though he didn't, like you say, he didn't win by a landslide, but it was shocking that I can never vote for somebody who's attacking me all the time, 24/7 time. Like, wow, where in your brain could I put that thing in there? I couldn't do that. Then you vote for somebody who has no plan. They were focused on Kamala Harris having a plan, but still, all these months later, there's a lot of plans for cutting things and saying that they're trying to save people from criminals and scandals and corruption, but there's no solutions to all the things, to the people in this, and also there's no what is the word? There's no people are not benefiting. You know, the stock market and the crypto and just all that stuff that these people were so happy about. They, you know, my little stock went down too. Like a little fund I have. You know, we get the little fund you put your stuff into. That little thing went down too. I'm not mad about
IRA
it.
or your what is it called?
It's an index fund.
Oh, index fund.
Yeah, I have one. I think I have the IRA too. Because I have an accountant lady who she's a godsend. But I got a little index fund after this election. That thing went down too. But like I told you, I didn't put too much in it. I don't got thousands. I got a couple, you know, a little something in it. But it went down. I'm not worried about that because, you know, it is what it is. It's going to do what it's going to do. But even for me, you know, like I talked to her. I said, well, what is the most important thing under Trump? And she told me what to do. Is I put it there, and I don't see the benefit at all. There's not been any benefit for we all American. At the end of the day, you know, Miss Sunny, we all, no matter, nobody's birth certificate has Democrat, MAGA, or Republican on it. We don't. We all in this together. I think that's the biggest thing I would say too. That's the thing that I wish that more people would kind of get to, the fact that when the pandemic came around, that kind of neutralized everything. Like nobody was safe from it. Although our community was under attack because the science showed that it was really hitting our community hard based on our DNA or whatever kind of chromosome we have. We were, you know, that's what we had to deal with. But this economy and the way the government is, you know, all this, it hits everybody. So I am very upset with people who say that as an American that they want all of us to suffer. You know, as Americans, we should stick together and say, wait a minute, I voted for you because you wanted to lower prices. Like the thing that I'm upset with MAGA people are is that they're cowards, and the fact that they don't hold their elected officials accountable. Now, with a Democrat, I will complain to them all day. I'll call them up, and I do talk to my elected officials. Mm-hmm. I would never vote for somebody Democrat and say that they want to stay in office for 16 years. Never. I would never do that if they wanted to be a governor or mayor or president. No, I'm not going to vote for you if you're a Democrat and you say that to my face. Never.
I think the MAGA people are just mentally. I think they're gone. I really do. I mean, I think they are. I'm talking about these diehard MAGA. I think they are literally just been brainwashed. You can't. They're not giving them. Think about the people that are in Donald Trump's when they go to these press conferences and they're having these conversations. No one in there is of really a not conservative but liberal media. Mm-hmm. There's no one there I don't think there's a CNN person in there. He has podcasters, like right-wing conservative podcasters in there asking the most insane questions that you know it's a lie. You have the young girl, the Levitz girl, who's spouting out lies because she doesn't know what's really going on. You have all these things, all these people in there. The only reporter I think that's really talking back to Levitz is the Fox News guy. And I can't think of his name because I don't watch Fox News, but
me neither.
Dude. But he's the only one that's correcting her when she's wrong. Mm-hmm. And you might have somebody else, but everybody else is no. They're taking away their press passes.
Yeah.
If they say anything off kilter. So they're just putting out propaganda and fake information. And people are going with it. So if you read some of these blogs or like Newsmax, and you're on I think it's Newsmax, and you go into the comment section and you read some of the stuff people are saying, they're saying things literally that you know that they got off of Fox News or off of whatever right-wing MAGA supporter, whatever. They're listening to that. And when you come and say that's not true, it is true. I saw it on and you're just like, oh my God, this is sad. And it's very scary. And if Donald Trump were to run again, which I doubt that's going to happen.
Oh, Lord.
You talking about it, but I doubt that's going to happen. You got to kind of pay attention to what's going on. This means he doesn't support J.D. Vance. Think about it. But anyway, if he were to run again, he'll still have 75 million votes, maybe 73 million, because it'll be like cousin 19.
Uh-huh. Remember?
Well, I can't do this because, you know, 19 is 19 and 19 is 19. 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 I literally told my husband, I said, people are going to have to deal with what they dealt with in with the pandemic. To once again, this bad relationship, you got beat down and beat up and bruised up. And now all of a sudden, I can't deal with him. He has to leave. I gotta kick him out the house. And you know what I'm saying? And so you put the man out the house, right? And then you get someone that saves you, lifts you up, and makes you forget, because we forget, because we consume, the information so quickly we forget about, and we put all that stuff behind us. And then we let him right back in because he's swept us off our feet again. And he's told us all these wonderful things, what he's going to do for me. Well, I didn't think it was going to happen to me again. Hey, Norris, he did it to me again. That's abuse. And you got Stockholm Syndrome, MAGA. You got it. JYK said, happened the same way in 1930s Germany. Inflation turned people toward cult worship and anti-liberalism. Ideals of the Enlightenment went out the window, and pseudoscience, misinformation marched right in. And that's what's happening right now. And it's
that's why you got to protect your mind. You got to protect your mind. And that's why I feel it's different than the 1930s. JYK is writing, hello, Mr. Norris. I'm seeing the comments here now, Becky, because I couldn't see before. That's why you got to protect your mind. Protecting the mind is one of, I think that, who was it, Oprah was saying, dear God, thank you for waking me up in my right mind. That's one of the simplest prayers that, I learned when I was younger. Thank you, God, for waking me up in my right mind. And I forget what other parts of it, but Marianne Williamson, Oprah, and I had that prayer for over 20 years. And it's true. It's a blessing to be in your right mind. I'm not even being shady about it. If you can wake up, you're not hating nobody, you're not afraid, and you're not blaming nobody. Like we talked about it. We live in an age of lack of accountability. I'm not talking about financial accountability, like the MAGA people talk about, or behavior, the way people dress, or the way people talk, all that kind of stuff. That's none of my business. I'm talking about emotional accountability. We are in a lack of emotional accountability right now. We feel triggered. We wake up in the middle of the night, 3:00 in the morning. We're afraid of something. Nothing is on the TV. We have a fear in our heart. And then we get this madman in the White House or somewhere on the podcast saying, well, I got the answer for you. I know exactly why you're afraid. And then, like a cult, you say, oh my gosh, they have the answer. But the simple fact is, what you pray, Buddha, whatever it is, if you say to yourself, why am I scared? What's going on with me? Everything stops with you. Right. We have to be responsible for our own fears. We can't allow some salesperson who's trying to manipulate us to support all this craziness to say that they have the answer when they don't. We live in an age of a lack of accountability. So then that's when people get manipulated. And like you said, we have millions of Democrats who would register this election who just simply was tired of the game. They didn't want it. For them, a lot of people who did not vote, who were Democratic, believe it was all corrupt. It was all corporate, Democrat, MAGA, Republican. They wanted no parts of it. They felt that it was the same thing as it always been. And I knew in my heart, this was not the same election. You have you have a Democrat, you have Republican, and then you have a national terrorist. It's a total different thing. I knew it when I smelled it. This was not the same thing. I don't believe that any Democrat or Republican person are a saint. I don't vote for saints when I go to the ballot in November. Right. I vote for the least offensive person on the ballot. Right. And if a person on the ballot is talking about eating dogs and cats and talking about this group and that group, that's a national terrorist, in my opinion. He no different than Tim McVeigh, the one that was trying to blow up Oklahoma all those years ago. He's no different than Charlie Sheen when he's talking about tiger blood. Literally, this is who that people put into the office. I don't support that in a million years. I don't think that all these other elected officials are saints. They're not my savior. They're not my family member who I love. They are politicians who are always trying to make money. A politician's job is to make money for themselves. Mm-hmm. That's just what, so people get, they made milk. Well, that's what they do. But the simple fact is, under Obama, even under Biden, and even under Bush, the one we had in the 2000s, we ain't going to have all these issues like we have now. You're going to push blind people in wheelchairs on the street and then put them in jail if they live in California. Because in California, if you're homeless and you're disabled, you go to prison. That's what they say. That's the new law. If you're out there, you're going to. So Well, because they criminalize homelessness, and I believe in California.
In California, one of the most expensive states out there.
Yes, the one in California, it is now a criminal act. I had to do my research correct. To be homeless, yes.
Oh, okay.
They made homelessness a criminal act. So, yeah, I think that we just have to protect our minds, and we got to continue to, get on different calls, and I'm working on some things myself. But yeah, we got to protect our mind. We got to protect our mind because, yeah, they've been working on this, like you said, for 43 years, it seems. Since 1978, they've been working a long time to get this control. It's all about money. There's not been no solutions. I mean, he's in office. So I'm like, okay, we all in this together. What are the solutions to everything?
I mean, it's about power. It's money and power. Yeah. Why does Elon Musk want to be there? It's not about money to him because he's the richest man in the world. It's about power at this point. The Gerber guy literally said Elon Musk was so angry with Joe Biden because Joe Biden, when he was in office, he talked about EV. Now, remember when Elon Musk came out with these cars, everybody that was liberal was buying the cars because why? It's an electric car and it's not using fuel, and it was to protect the environment. So the Republicans were like, screw that, because Donald Trump didn't even like it, right? Because we need fuel. We need gas. We need fuel, right? I'm going to get the manufacture. I'm going to get the oil, what do you call it? The coal mining back.
Drill.
We're going to drill. Blah, 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 right? So people need to remember that Donald Trump didn't even like Elon Musk. And I don't think Elon Musk liked him either. So Elon Musk is selling this car, this electric car that everybody wanted to buy. This $80,000 car when it first came out. And I think that was the bigger one, was $80,000. And so he is, selling this car, and we're going to do, green. Then the guy said that Elon Musk got angry with Joe Biden. And because Joe Biden didn't mention Tesla when he said, we're going to give some contracts to these environmental cars. And he mentioned Ford, and I think it was Ford or Dodge or Chrysler or something like that. But he didn't mention Tesla. And Elon Musk got upset by that. I'm going to talk about how simple. We got to know that this man is dealing with
a mental disability, Asperger's or something.
Yeah, Asperger's.
Some kind of thing.
I was going to say something, but I ain't going to say that. Asperger's. And so he's dealing with Asperger's. From my understanding, he has.
He's off. He's touching the head. He's a problem.
I'm trying to be. So autism. So
yeah. Okay.
Because Asperger's is a form of autism.
Oh, okay.
So he is dealing with it. He doesn't know how to I don't think know how to react to certain situations. W1 said Elon has Asperger's and Trump has a burger ass.
I know that's listen. Go ahead, Mr. W1.
So JYK said yes, Mel. Don't let perfect the enemy of the good. By the way, don't think it is an actual crime from a Google search, but you might mean that they get fined and arrested, which is effectively the same. You're talking about
it would, yeah. So thank you, JYK. Yeah, I knew there was some kind of new rules that really, how a homeless person going to get fined and they have no money to pay it? Then it's just a hot mess. But I knew they were attacking the homeless people. So
that's sad. So he gets mad at them, and so he says, "Okay, you didn't mention Tesla, so now I got a problem, and I'm pissed off about it." So he gets on Twitter and he's tweeting. Then one of his sons becomes transgender, or is transgender. And he's going to a special school, and now she's transgender. Right? This upsets him more because it's the wokeness. that made his son want to become a woman, right? This school that my child goes to had something to do with my child. The school is too woke. So now my child is a transgender. That pissed him off. So he said it was all these things that just started making Elon just go all the way right. And then when Donald Trump got the attempt on his life, something happened. So then he was like, yeah, they're trying to get rid of people who don't believe in woke. And then he just automatically went and he donated the money to Donald Trump. And then he was behind this whole Donald Trump thing. But a guy says, but he used it because he knew if he gave Donald Trump the money, and this is what Kamala Harris says, is that Donald Trump is weak-minded. He's not smart. He's weak. Donald Trump needed that $250 million. You're dealing with the richest man in the world that is buying elections. Donald Trump said it himself. That Elon is a smart guy. He went down to Pennsylvania and he won that election for me. He won Pennsylvania for me. With that 200, giving the $1 million out. That's what he did. So, and he's doing it again. For this judge, I think is in Michigan or Wisconsin. He's doing it again. I think it's in Wisconsin. So, Elon Musk now is like, okay, I have the power, I have the money, I have the power. What did Elon Musk child say when he talked to Donald Trump? You're not the president. Shut up. You're not the president.
Straight from his father, probably.
He got it from his daddy. Who else he gonna get it from?
Right.
Ain't nobody else saying that. You know, from a child's mouth to your, because the child is listening to his daddy. His daddy probably said, "You're not the he's not the president. I'm the president." Elon Musk thinks he can buy his way into anything now. Elon Musk has Asperger's. His brother even said that he does not have empathy. There is a video of Elon Musk saying having empathy is the problem with this country. It's weakness. Having empathy is weakness. Now, it's empathy for other people that he has an issue with. But if you out there burning up them Teslas and doing everything else, how dare you talk about that? How dare you come after that car? How dare you? Because it's mine. And that's part of his, I guess that's part of his autism or his Asperger's.
But then I think the whole MAGA party might have Asperger's because this is exactly what they do. They want.
They're brainwashed.
Okay, they got some kind of virus, Miss Sunny. Because some fact is they do exactly that, where they be like, oh, they want to be aggressive with other groups, and the moment they get it back, like they going after Jasmine, then when the moment somebody gives it back to them, that's why I said right now, the Democrat Party needs to make up their own rules. And don't stick to these kind of rules because the rules are getting them eaten up right now. Like they, if I was in the game, I wouldn't be playing by nobody's rules. I would keep them on their toes all the time. I'd be surprising them all the time. I would show up dressed the way I want to be dressed. I would not play by the rules at all. Would not be playing by any rules.
But that's the Democrats' problem. The Democrats always sit around and want to be. Remember when they got rid of the guy because he took the photo of the girl? He was in the photo with the girl, and he had his hands like this is during the Me Too movement, and he had his hands on like not touching. I don't think he was touching her breast, but he had his hands covering her breast or something like that. And they got rid of him. I think he was like a Maine senator in Maine or something like that, but he's a comedian. But they got rid of him. He had to step down, so he stepped down. I was like, what are you stepping down for? That picture, she was okay with it because she was laughing and giggling like. What is going on? And they were stepping out, and nobody in the Republican Party was stepping down from all the little nastiness they were doing.
Right. So then
yeah. But the problem with the Democrats, because they had a show face and everything is good. Okay, that's fine. Grand, y'all doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing for the Me Too movement. I get it. Fantastic. Do that. That's good. That's fine. Donald Trump came in 2016, changed the game. Period. He changed the game in 2016. 2020. In 2024, this election, they were calling Kamala all out of name. Like, where they do that at? Where they do that at? In reality, if you go back, when he talks about he gave money to Kamala Harris's campaign when she was I think a governor. What was she in there?
Wasn't she the DA or something? Yeah.
DA. He gave money to her. So it's like for her campaign. So he doesn't dislike Kamala Harris. This is a this is a reality show for Donald Trump. He sits at that desk. He doesn't even know what he's signing. He's just signing stuff to make it seem like he knows. Because he'll turn and ask the guy, what is this? The guy tell him this is such and such. Oh, okay. He signs it.
There was a video of a funny video. Somebody said, they said, I believe he's signing those papers in crayon. I saw bust out laughing.
He's just signing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because to him, I'm sitting on the throne. I am the king. And in his mind, he thinks he's a king. So they're putting all this information out, basically saying that his ratings are so high. They're not. I
don't believe that either.
They're not high. No. And don't believe the hype, because certain
polls
are only geared to people who voted for Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Literally. And let me repeat it. Those polls that you are seeing are only geared to people who voted for him. They're not asking, 10 people, 5 Democrats, and then 5 Republicans. No, they're asking strictly 10 Republicans. How do you know what's going on?
I researched it because they say, polling is supposed to be, it's supposed to deal with the algorithm, and it's supposed to sort of give you an honest take about what the vibe is in America. I'm thinking, what the hell? Are you out your mind with the prices? No, that polling, and when you research the people who are taking the polls, like the companies, whatever, they're very connected to Elon, most of those polling.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I would correct myself. They're very connected to the tech bros, the people who actually support, all those people together. So when you have tech bros in charge of Elon and all of them in charge of the polling, and then you have media saying that the polls are legit, that is also another way that's going to manipulate the American people. Oh, what if the polls are saying, if my neighbors are saying that they're going to be, they support Trump, whatever, well, then maybe I should give it a chance too. That's why I was said at the beginning of this new year, protect your mind. When I saw the polls, I was disturbed. So I went online, I went to Chat GPT, AIs, all type of thing, and I was researching until I got to the bottom. Excuse my French, where the hell did this poll come from? I want to know where the poll come from. I want to know if it is legit. Where did it come from? And then I found that most of those polls are coming from tech bros. And then ABC and CBS and all these people that I've trusted are putting these polls on their programs, pretending that these things are real. Do I believe that some of the MAGA people, as you said in your comment section that you have on your video, on your post, you see different things. Yeah, I believe of course, I believe people are happy with him. Of course, I mean there are a lot of people that enjoy him. God, for whatever reason they do, but the polls are not that. I don't believe the polls. I just don't believe the polls. The polls are corrupt, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and no, I don't believe them either. So it's like, because 56% of American people are not happy with what's happening with the economy. So now how can you have this high poll number? Because he comes out and say my numbers, people love what I'm doing. The polls say so. No, they're not. It's 56% of the people don't like what's happening in the economy.
Somebody said,
somebody's lying to you, old man.
Somebody said, well, if they say I had more money and I was paying lower for my groceries, had more money in my account and around Halloween than I had in the new year, most Americans are not happy with. That's only a couple of weeks. That's only a couple of months. Halloween, before the election, people were paying lesser for their milk, lesser for their fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. And now we getting ready to the holiday time, Easter, and people are going to be paying unbelievable prices for their hams or whatever people eat. The prices are through the roof compared to last year. So if he was coming in to save you from these prices, and now the prices are almost like 13% or whatever, 15% more of everything. Yeah, the polls, so protect your mind because those polls ain't real.
But he said it. I don't know. I can't do anything about that. Just yesterday, this man said, I don't care about how expensive these cars are going to be because he's putting this 25% tax on whoever, I think, on foreign cars made in foreign.
In China, yeah,
China, whatever. They're not made in the United States. They're going to get a 25% tax. What? So now, if your car break down, you go out here and try to have to buy a car. He's forcing you to buy an American-made car. Everybody know Ford is fixed or repaired daily. Nobody want no Fords anymore. Like, really? So, but they're saying that, well, I don't know if everybody, I'm not driving a Ford, but what they're saying is that it doesn't matter if it's made here, because all the tools and all the parts, some of the parts and stuff come from China or Mexico or Canada.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to be taxed. Then he threatens the companies, if you raise the prices on the goods, you're going to have to pay dearly for that. So don't raise the prices. You can't tell companies not to raise prices on, so you're going to force me, the company, to buy these parts that you done put a 25% tariff on. Now you're going to tell me to sell it for the same price I've been selling it, although the price has increased on making this vehicle. So what is going to happen now? What people are going to do if they stick to just, okay, we won't raise the price, but what we're going to do is get rid of people. Think about that. Then the unemployment rate, once again, drop or goes higher, right? Because you have to fire people because you got to get your money back some way. Because if I own a company, corporations are not going to lose out on money because of Donald Trump.
Right.
I'm not going to raise the prices, but I have to fire some people. You see what I'm saying? And so, but Donald Trump doesn't.
Yeah. No, he don't. I mean, you're right. I mean,
he's a sociopath.
I mean, the thing about it, we came from a time where we were feeling protected with the vaccines and different things. And since he got in office, people have been fired from multiple places in the government. Now he's affecting other industries. As you just said, people are going to be laid off in private industries because of these taxes. Yep. Healthcare is now on the chopping block for many groups. People who are, LGBT, who, take medication for, I thank God I'm okay. So thank God I'm celibate. I don't have to worry about no medications and all that. That's not my thing. So, I do pray for the people in the community who need these medications and need all that stuff. And then also women, health. I mean, everything. And rents is going to be going up, mortgages and interest rates on loans, and my God, it's crazy.
I don't think it's not going to get any easier. So like I said, spend your money wisely. Stay focused on family, your mental health, right? Because I do believe I said this last year. If you don't, get out and vote for you. Really sit back and think about before you go into that booth what's going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is going to be the Hunger Games if Donald Trump wins. Did I not say that?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, somebody laughed in the comment, the Hunger Games, ha, 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 ha. I said, yeah, it's going to be the Hunger Games. Y'all think it's a joke. It's not a joke. This is real life people are dealing with. Middle class people, poor people. In Florida, they are putting in a bill for 14-year-olds to work late. So because they're losing workers because they got the workers left. And so to fill these positions, they are rewriting bills so that 14-year-old kids can go and work these jobs and work around the clock on school nights. This is real. Somebody says, is that real? Yeah, it's real. It's not a joke.
Wow.
So If your 14-year-old gets a job in Florida, they get the work, they have to, they might have a job, they might have to work until 12 o'clock midnight and get up and go to school the next morning and come back to work 8 o'clock in the morning, or whatever the case may be.
That's really sound like Russia.
12, right? 6 to 12 or whatever. Without breaks, by all kind of stuff. Because I mean, it's out there. It's just insane. Because even I was like, that's crazy. This is why they're getting rid of the Board of Education.
Yeah, I know you don't watch Married to Medicine, probably religious, but the ladies had a really they've been hit or miss for me. But Simone, they did ask one good question about the education, and she said, Simone of all people, she said, I never went to private school in my life. Right. My family couldn't afford it. I grew up, I don't know what states you grew up. I'm not sure if it was Georgia, but she said I went to public school my life, and it wasn't DEI, but it was the different scholarships and programs at the Department of Education that got me through medical school.
Right.
And that we don't have enough Black doctors, gynecologists, general practitioners, or whatever. We don't have enough. And I'm afraid that the next generation won't have access to get into these hospitals and stuff like that. So she really broke it down. And I think even Dr. Hebley's husband, of all people, he said, they said that we were unqualified, but don't you know that we worked 300 times harder when we were going to medical school because of all that kind of stigma and racism they really were very on point with that point. So they broke down what you just said, that education thing. But I want to say one thing, and I'm actually going to drop dead because I know you probably have to go too. With all these issues that you were talking about, with the price and stuff like that, one of my friends who I've known for a long time, who's a drag queen, I won't give her name, but she's a very major drag queen. I know her for a long time. And we were talking at the beginning of the year. She was like, with everything going on with people in the community getting attacked, because she travels to Indiana, she travels all over the country to do her little shows, and she does comedy shows. And we were talking, she was, very nervous and everything. I said, why don't you team up? Because I was watching Pose actually over the holiday season, and I love Pose. I was just rewatching it. I said, you know what, you need to team up with one of your girlfriends who also do drag, because the idea is that if you're a drag queen or if you're trans or whatever, that you're a danger to society based on the MAGA people's thing. I said, well, if you go into these conservative places and you feel uncomfortable, go there with your girlfriend. Make it 2 people on the bill. So basically, and she did it too. You know how I am. If I hear somebody with a problem, I'll try to give a solution, and it worked out, and she had a good time and everything. So I wanted to say that. But I say that because I think that right now we have to be creative, no matter what group you belong to. If you're LGBT, if you're a Black woman, if you're a gay Black man, if you're a Black man, whatever, you have to talk to your people that you trust, and you have to be creative to get past these next 4 years. Like even for me, like we talk about, have your other hobbies on the side. Enjoy yourself. But if things get expensive, you know what? There's a lot of opportunities online. You can do a channel like Miss Honey is doing. You can create different things that you believe in. Don't be fake about it. Whatever your passion is on the weekend, like I do, I write and I do my little things. There's because I don't feel the burden of what's going on, because I'm as soon as that stuff was happening, I just started doing other things, and that sort of fills up. And it insulates me from those kind of issues, whatever. So, the world is changing, but be creative. Think about what you love to do. I know everybody's working, but if you have time to do a hobby or do something else that on the weekend, do that to sort of help you, to soak up the cost of the food and all the tariffs and all that kind of stuff. We got to be creative, is what I'm saying. So if you're afraid of something, try to team up with other people. If you have something that you love to do, try to really double down on that on the weekend, and maybe make something out of that. But there's a lot of things we could do. We just got to be creative. We got, what, back in the old days, I love the books. People who in our community, I was watching about the beginning of soul food, and a lot of people who were really good at soul food, they made fried chicken in their kitchen back down south back in the 1930s, and they made money with that. They had their own job cleaning houses, whatever, on the weekend. Even the white people, you probably know this too, but I'm not from, but they said, white people, all the people in that community said, oh, Miss Jenkins, she makes good pies. So she just started making pies, and she was making a lot of money. This thing called moonshine, I guess that's how even that started in Now, nobody's making moonshine, but basically, Black people are very creative. When, no matter what time you live in, they're gonna figure out something. So that was an inspiration to me. I'm not cooking and making moonshine, but basically, no matter what time we live in, we're gonna survive. We're going to, if you create about something.
Yeah, you have to be creative, and you have
Yeah.
to, because it's gonna be just for you to make your extra income. Because like I said, if eggs stay at the prices that they're staying, that's like you're gonna make everything so expensive, but yet you don't want to raise the minimum wage. And so that's why I was saying these kids they're putting these kids to work, children, and they get rid of the board of education, give it to the states. That money that would normally help someone like a Dr. Simone or whoever,
Right.
even Sunny Houston said the same thing, that she used government funding to get her education as well. It's sad at the state we're in. They are dumbing down America, and America is not going to be competitive with the rest of the world, with China, European schooling. It's only going to be for children who go to private school. The people that can afford private school are the 1% that can afford private school. Or you're going to have parents out here working 5 jobs to put their children in private school to get an education that's going to be at the same level as basically white children who have money.
So you know what? I don't do conspiracies, but the conspiracy is that what Trump and Elon are doing is trying to do the same thing that they do in Russia and even London, basically, where the 1% basically messes up the system so much that everybody else who's not at that level become workers. You become, like you just said, you become a person who's working 5. You become, I hate to use the word slave, but you become basically a slave to the system. Where you don't have enough time to dream, you don't have enough time to create. And even the MAGA supporting people in our community who have beautiful names may decide they want to go open up a business, but put their name down on the application and get turned down. So we live in that kind of world where basically if you're dreaming and you're not at the top of power, I mean, even Oprah said a couple of years ago, that's why she voted for Kamala Harris. I'm a billionaire and I can't even buy a purse if I want to. I can go to a store and not dress up in all my drag. I say drag, meaning all her diamonds, her makeup and everything.
Right.
If she go into a store and want to buy a bag that she can't afford, she can't buy it. She get microaggressed. That's why that's what the challenge I was giving to Candace Owens. You talk a lot of crap, but you take your drag off, take all your diamonds off, all your makeup off, and then go into a store, a report from a MAGA rally, and let us know how you feel. I think that it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but
that's where we are.
That's where we are right now. But I think it's gonna be okay. But it's always good to talk about it, and that's what we did. So it's gonna be good. I think we got work to do.
And I try to give out some information to help some people when it comes to the what is it called? I had to write it down on a little piece of paper. HHS and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the CDC. Mm-hmm. So you can just go to the website because they have CDC has information on the website. The info is, the phone number is 800-232-4636. You just type in CDC and it'll come up. Google CDC and it'll come up. But,
and I was going to say to you, I know it's said 100 times. Also, Google who represents me on Google, because just like Miss Honey is saying, if you find out who represents you and you trust them, meaning they are part of your party, they're not, MAGA, whatever you are. When you call them, you can say your medical issue. You can say whatever your issue is, tax or whatever it is. They can actually help you with everything in your state. And especially if it's healthcare for women or whatever it is, if you feel like, oh my gosh, they're changing things too fast, I don't understand the government. That's for your local governor, senators, and those kind of people. They have people in their office that will help you. Maybe even make an appointment for you to go in person and talk about your concern. It's good to do it before June, because a lot of times in summertime, they don't be around. So if you really want to get things done, it's between now and June where you get a chance to call them and, make an appointment to talk about your concerns about whatever it is, because they actually can direct you, for whatever you want to do in your community.
And also contact your, like you said, who represents you, your congressman, your mayor, whoever.
That's right.
Contact them, have a conversation with them, because say, when are you going to have a town hall? I think you should have a town hall. We got to go to your town hall meetings.
Yeah.
Make time, because this is the moment. 2026 will be an election.
That's right.
And Mel NYC says they're going to believe there's going to be a blue sweep. We hope so, but they are still out here literally trying to stop you from voting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a fact. They purging people's registrations. They're doing it right now. They did it here in Georgia recently. So so make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you get out and vote for your senators, and in 2026, your senators and your the people in the House, because I think that's when the election is in 2026. This is going to be super important. You got to stop this man in his tracks, okay? Because dismiss the executive order writing behind. No, we know a lot of stuff is being thrown back from the judges. Thank God for Joe Biden putting judges. He knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Those judges in
Yeah, he did.
He knew that.
Yeah, he did.
So a lot of things that they're doing right now in the Trump administration is illegal. It's illegal. We are being we are in a reality show. We are in Donald Trump's reality show. Okay. Everything that this man is doing, it is literally should not be happening. It is illegal. So Elon Musk as well, illegal. Okay. So thanks, Mel, for coming up, honey, having this conversation. I will probably go back on Sunday. I'm gonna try to get back up here and start doing some lives again. Let's see. At the end of the month, I have an event to go to, but who knows? I might go live from where I'm at. But yeah. So you all, Mel, thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks, Mel.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right.
So I am going to end the show here. I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you, Rock and Roll Acid Mom or something like that. Oh, Acid Queen and JYK for coming in. That's just my first time seeing y'all. I appreciate you all being here and making comments. I appreciate that very, very much. Please hit the like button, sub to the channel. I will be doing also, if you want to join memberships, there's a membership at the bottom there. Go ahead and join those, because I will be doing membership lives as well, just for members only lives. Thank you, Gwen, for being here as always. And Miss Cherie, thank you, W1. Mel NYC. And thank you all for being here. And people that are in the bushes, I appreciate you coming in, watching. Okay. Just subscribe to the channel. Thanks for replying, Queen. And thanks for the show, Sonny and Mel. Thank you, sweetie. And so just little peace of mind. Stay focused. Be with your families. Don't get caught up in the hoopla. Don't get caught up in the madness. A lot of this stuff that Donald Trump is doing is a distraction from, what he's implemented in Project 2025, from Project 2025. Be sure, if you have not seen Bad Faith or Deconstructing Karen, I advise that you go see those. And from that, I will love on you all later. Y'all have a wonderful night.